All right, Assalamu alaikum again. So let's get started with our regular Scrum meeting, and we will go over your progress this week. So I would like to hear what you guys have done and what are the next steps, and what you also want an update on if you guys, any of you guys, I know one or two people did try it. The SQL developer installation. So did you guys get a chance to do that? Okay, so I'll let Afif get started. Okay, Afif, go ahead.
All right, assalamu alaikum. So this time around, let me share screen. All right, so I finished developing the different parts of the project. I just wanted to confirm everything with you just to see that we've got the plan in action. So I'll start off. So basically, here's how it's going to look. Activities, there's internal and external, two different drop down. I believe I showed this last time, but I added some annotations and notes for others to understand as well. I'll also make a Confluence page for this as well so that other people can understand that. So if you go to internal, then there'll be two different options over there. You can create an internal event or click the internal event card. If you create an event, then the admin has access to the internal display fields, which they can then access through there. I decided to change the process a little bit. So rather than having a radio button that allows you to select whether internal or external, if you're on the internal page, then you will always create an internal event. If you're on the external page, you'll always create an external event.
That's wonderful. Yeah, good.
And if you click an internal event, it takes you to the event description page. If there's no image entered, it'll always default basically to the MHMA logo. And they can register now. And here's where like some of the stuff changed. This is a demo. I can skip through this. That was a planning idea. But so here's kind of what I have in mind to do. So we have the dependents and members that you can register for by check marking the boxes. And you can enter coupon codes. Eventually, I remember you mentioned in the meeting we had earlier that there might be coupons or something that someone can have a discount.
Yeah.
If they check mark the boxes, it'll automatically change the transaction fee because it's per person. So if multiple people are coming, it'll add up. And then when they put the coupon code, apply, and then it can also it'll decrease the transaction fee.
Okay.
And then there's payment methods. So there's two different payment methods. There's the cards and then there's PayPal. Either way, whichever one you do, if you choose a card, you can proceed to checkout. And if you choose PayPal, you can pay with PayPal.
Makes sense. Yep.
So then if you are going through the card, here's some of the fields that we'll be showing, but we're also going to take the first name, last name, address, billing address, all sorts of stuff like that, so that we have all their information. Those that will basically be a separate payment page after that, which then you can confirm and it'll take you to the confirmation page. For PayPal, it's essentially the same thing, but it automatically takes you to the PayPal API, and then you can then use the PayPal to do the registration instead.
Good. That looks good.
And then finally, there's the confirmation page. Basically, it says you successfully paid the money and you can return back to the activity hub.
That's wonderful, man. That's good.
And so then also over the week, I made the model, the activity registration model. So here's some of the fields that we would need. We'd need the activity ID, the member ID, dependents, payment integration, payment method, payment amount. And we're also taking the timestamp so that we're recording when the event was created, all of that data as well.
Yeah.
So then, so we can track all of that data. And then I also use the Postman to create the various fields. So I can show a demo right there. Let me just finish off these slides. I can show what I can do with Postman now.
Oh, great.
So external event. So basically, instead you click external, and then you can select any external event. So for example, if I click plus here, I can create an event. When you create an external event, you just enter the title and the URL. Now, if you see the events, just pretend these are all different events, but let's pretend I want to join kids soccer. It'll be more descriptive than that. It'll take you to the Tracy Youth Soccer League registration page, where then you can make the registrations externally.
Okay. And it opens up in a different tab, right?
Yes, it'll open up in a different tab. So then it won't it doesn't just change the tab. They can access their new tab, make the registration, and come back to our page. Yeah, and so then so far, basically what we did was we made the fields for the activity type and the APIs built. So then I will do a demo for Postman right now just to show what we can do with this.
So you build this using what? What you showed me earlier. Is it a PowerPoint or?
Oh, I was using Google Slides, but most of the stuff I used, I took screenshots of my current code that I did.
Oh, no, I know, but it is done in Google Slides. Okay, so the navigation and all that plus and all that stuff you did through the Google Slides?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
All right, so here's what.
This is basically you are testing your backend REST APIs, right?
Yes. So here's what you can do. So basically, this is how you can register any member and any dependents you want for any independent activity. So first you want to get request the members. So you access all the members there are. Let's pretend I just want to register. Let's do John Smith as an example. You would take John Smith's ID and then you would paste it into the member ID. And then you would go to localhost 3000 activities.
Get the activity ID.
Yes, then you would take the activity ID. Let's just register for a half marathon. You would take the ID of the activity, put it into the activity ID. And then now you would want to go into the get the registration. And here's where you would like to post the event. So, and you can also change the various people. Since John Smith doesn't have any dependents, we don't need to register any dependents for him. You can put any payment integration ID. This will be generated, but I can just put a default number or ID just for it. He'll be paying through card, and then the payment amount, it will be entered as a number. So $110.21. We can post the information. And now that it's posted, you can just simply go to the activities registration. You can get there and then fetch. You can go to the registration. All right, activities registration, and then you want to get by the ID. So get by the event ID. So you post there and then.
So did you create the registration under the activities?
Yes, activities is under registration.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you go there, you pick up any activity. For example, let's go back to the half marathon.
Yeah.
And then we want to fetch.
Put the activity number ID here, yeah.
Yes, and then you
And
go to registration slash and then
You have to take the ID of the database ID of that the registration activity registration collection. I mean data document. Like
the ID you picked up is for the activity ID, right? So you have to put it next to the activity to get that activity out. Let's try that first. Yeah. So then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And so then you can access the location, all of the data.
Right.
I believe it also supposed to show the person registered for it. So then I believe, oh yeah, I think I'm supposed to take this activities slash registration and then slash member. No.
No. It is activities. I think I'll have to take a look at how you defined your routes to see what you're doing.
Afif, look into the routes, and because I know, I mean, it's like the way we are passing is that Afif, that after registration, if you want to get all the, do you have defined all register, the API for getting all of the events registration status, or you haven't?
I got registration by ID, but yeah, you can also
have all. So first select all and then take any one of the ID from that, and then individually you can get that.
Am I spelling registration wrong?
Nothing is coming with registration. Activities has something. Look at the activities and see what is there any registration showing under that?
No, activities is different. This is a different data.
I think I was actually supposed to put it under register, or
you look into your, in your routes and see what API, what you have defined. Here's router.get/registration.
Yeah, so this is register.
So this is activities/registration. So you should be able to get that all.
Yeah, which is why I was trying to do activities/registration,
Yeah.
but it says not found. I think,
You didn't add any, probably you didn't do any post request. Do post
Maybe.
request. too.
maybe the post didn't go through, yeah. There we go. So then if I
Now
get,
try to get it, yeah.
Yeah, he did it earlier also. Yeah, so I think something is not working. So Afif, do you know how to attach the debugger to your, that's a good thing for you to debug, to see where, I showed in one of our sessions how to attach the debugger, and that way you can put a breakpoint and see why it is not hitting it is possible that it is not hitting your function actually.
Yeah, he was able to do it before because he has taken a screenshot from the Postman Afif. Can you show that?
Yeah, no, I believe that. So there must be something he might have changed later.
yeah, so it's supposed to fetch all of this. So yeah, you put activities/registration and then you fetch the ID. And then you can get all of the information for the activity and who's registered and their dependents.
Yeah, he's populating all the activities info as well as all the members info in one, so we can get all the information together.
Okay, so Afif, can you show us your activities and registration model also? Just want to take a look what you're doing.
Oh yeah. The activity, there's the activity register. So then you have this, and then you have so we're using the schema types object ID.
Okay.
So that we can transfer it over, and then we have member ID. You can also do that for dependents, but I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
We're using currency for payment amount, and yeah, so that is the activities register, and for activity hasn't changed.
So activity register, okay. So if activity register. Do you think we should be storing it as an object? I'm thinking that we should store just an ID. It would, so basically the problem with this is that you will be duplicating the data of the activities and the members here.
No, brother Naeem, we are not duplicating. I'm sorry, I'm just interfering in between. We are not duplicating. It's just we have defined, like we are linking this table with, just like, when we join the tables together in SQL. So here, like we are also linking it by defining, oh, this is an object ID. So refer to this table when we are we want.
So it is not going to create a structure under this in the document?
It will not create like complete whole structure, but the way we are passing it in the routes. Afif, go to the routes.
Okay.
So here we are defining the populate. Where is the one, Afif? Registration dot populate host. No, get request by ID. Yeah, this one. Yeah, we are populating first the member ID table, and then we are populating activity ID table, and then we are fetching the data after that. So this is doing at this point when we are fetching it, then we are populating our table with that. Otherwise, it's only storing the values which we are, we want to.
Okay, I got it. So basically, when we're storing it, we are just storing some kind of an ID. But when we are getting it, that time we bringing the data from the member, and
we are just a join method. We are just joining it, and then we are bringing it up.
Okay, then we're good. Yeah. I guess you need to debug more. I guess we should move on. I think
it was working earlier, but then I guess maybe there might have been some issue when I was transferring the code, and then because I moved it from one file to another. I could try opening up the other one.
Oh, the other repository. Okay.
Yeah.
CD. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have to see. So this
Yeah.
was the one that was working earlier. Then I transferred the code and then pushed it into, because now we've I connected my own fork into my mom's fork. So then we both share a similar, like, so we share the repos.
Okay. Okay.
So then
Did you stop the other one, or the other one is running?
so I might be running.
No, you did. You did stop it. Okay. I just couldn't find. I think you probably have to do the yarn first. Find package. Oh, package.json is not found here. Why?
Oh, okay. I thought I did this earlier, but we'll see. Okay, so
No, I think it is.
oh yeah, because we had CD Masjid. I forgot. Okay, CD Masjid. Oh, you can't run.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
so
can start here from the yarn.
now, yeah, I forgot to go inside the masjid. So then,
Yeah, I think it is running something somewhere else in your. Maybe it is in the command prompt you are running. So why don't you just show us maybe later if you let's go through the others, and then if you're ready you can
Yeah.
close again.
all right.
All right. Thanks, man. Good job, man. This is great progress. Okay, Subhan.
Yeah, so I've been also trying to make a bit of progress, but I worked a bit on the backend part of the volunteer page. I think sometime this week I'm gonna ask Afif and Danyanti about how they did their UI for their um for for their activities page, because I want to kind of implement their type of format into mine.
Okay.
They use React.js, but I did do a couple of stuff for the backend.
Okay. So you want to show something to us?
Yeah, so first I created a model which had basically the stuff I want the volunteer the admin to see, to like what can be stored are the volunteer type, activity description, and days available. I think these are the three main, including just the contact information.
Yeah.
And
So
then
why do you need the last name and first name here?
we had it for the payments and the members, and so when during the
But
so the
I think
payment
you should you should have instead of this you should have something similar which Afif was showing earlier, that you should have a member here instead of putting
all the dependents and
no the member information, like they are defining a type for the member. You should do something similar. So yeah, I think you should probably talk to them. They probably can help you because you don't need first name last name, because first name last name is already stored for the member. You don't need it here. You would
so I
need a
can
volunteer
kind of
type and the description and the day is available. Okay.
wait. So what do you mean by? I'm still kind of confused.
Yeah. So the first name and the last name, these are for the member, right?
Yeah.
So you instead need a member information here, member ID or something, right? Like
Can I just put member ID would be fine,
yeah,
because
yeah,
we
member
already.
ID, and then you will get the member information based on that ID when you're showing in your UI. On the back end, we will only store the member ID. We will not store the first name and last name again. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, I'll just.
And you also don't need email either, because email can be picked up from there as well.
Yeah. All right, and then I created the route for this, which was basically it's similar to what the others were like. It's just using Postman to. I'm still working on the Postman part, but it's basically it gets all of the volunteers here. It's similar to what Afif was. Basically the same thing Afif was showing.
Mhm.
Single ID, create a new volunteer. I have to take out these two, I think, and these three actually.
Right.
This post a new ID, this updates using, if you just put the slash, you just put the ID right here and you can update it using the get function, and then delete. There's a delete function that you can use, and yeah. So I think what's I'm having more trouble with is trying to design the. I don't know kind of where to start.
Hmm.
Where
Yeah,
to,
so maybe you need to talk to these guys. With Sister Tanya, you can meet with her
yeah,
and
I'll
she
message.
can help you out.
All right.
Okay. So I think you need to give a little bit more time, Subhan, to this. So that will help. I know you are busy with the college, but it's important that we take some time out and then work on this stuff. Okay. All right. So hopefully next week you will have your REST API and some kind of a UI available.
Yeah, definitely. I'll message. I'll ask Donnie Auntie to help me out with the UI
Okay.
part. And yeah, I should have a somewhat of a UI. I'll try to make it like at least something that looks good.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Who is next? Sister Tanya, you have any more updates or you're good?
So sorry, actually I was here to, help Afifi.
Okay, no, I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So no, actually, I haven't done. I'm just helping him. So we were
Okay.
working together. So haven't done.
Okay, sounds good. Okay,
But brother, you have to give me that. How I have to store in my what we call it is service account.
okay.
Yeah, Jason, you have to tell me that how I can progress. with that.
Yes. Let me work on that a little bit. I'll today and tomorrow I'm a little bit busy, so I will work with you on that. Yes, to get store that into the document and then read it when the user signs in or something like that. And
Yeah,
and then it does
yeah,
not go to the web. It just stays between the Node.js and the database. That's what we were thinking, right?
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
So yeah, but right now, I have placed it in the git ignore, so I'm not committing that file. So it's still with me as a local. So but rest of the code I have pushed it into my GitHub. So do you want me to send a pull request right now, or should wait till?
I think make a pull request. The reason for that is like people like Subhan and the others can benefit from what you are doing, right? They can take a look how you implement it, and then they can.
They can still take it from my fork because I have my fork updated, so they can just take and clone it from there and work on it.
Okay.
But that's not a problem. But I'm asking because if I send, I haven't pushed that config files and as well as that the service account file right now because I don't want to push that into the GitHub as it is some.
Yeah. Okay. Then I think then we can keep it like this. But you still can if you have put it in the git ignore, then you can still make a pull request, right?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's do that.
Okay.
I think, again, that's one benefit, and the other is that I start to feel that we should have something which we can show to the MHMA that what we have built. So I want this project to be close to finishing, and then once it's checked in, we will feel more confident that we can deliver that, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'll push it. So.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Wahaj, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, Hanal. I can show my progress. Okay, so yeah, I worked on a bit on the validation of the form. So right when I show the submit button, it's disabled because not all the required required fields are selected. So once I fill that out and just enter some information, and for this one I made it so that it's only numbers and no negative signs or e's. So I just 45 and it's enabled.
Okay.
Then when I press it, it pushes to the post makes post request.
Okay.
And yeah, I noticed that even when I submit it, these stuff show up on the URL. So I just figured out
what Sister Tanya suggested you, or did you not yet?
I have not tried because I thought it was just the clear one, but I realized that it's just a submit.
Yeah, try that, and if it doesn't help, either you can meet with me or maybe with Sister Tanya. Maybe sometime I can meet like on Tuesday. Today and tomorrow I'm a little bit busy. We should clean this up. I think this is otherwise. I'm seeing that yours and what's his name? Rafe's work is also very close to finishing. So I want this maybe we can have Rafe, you and me meet maybe Tuesday sometime, and to
Sure.
sure that we can integrate completely with the Stripe and PayPal, because then at some point that is going to be used by Afif as well. So let's do that.
All right, sounds good, inshallah.
So what
yeah,
else you are thinking about? Is there any more things you need to do on this, or you think it's
Yeah.
much there?
I still have to do the validation for the email.
Okay.
I'm thinking of just making it so that if it detects an @ sign, a dot, then it's a valid email.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good start. Yeah, that's a good start. Yeah.
And also maybe make it so that they can't enter numbers in these fields, but
So there is another thing. I think you should. I mean, HTML5 has already the type as an email, the attribute type. I think that will probably do the validation automatically on the browser. I don't know how React implements that, so you'll have to make a search. So when you are defining it a text area, can you try also as an email?
you know, I might have to get rid of this no validate. I think that removes the validation. Let's see. Okay, so when I
Brother Naeem, I have defined some, validation in the form for email as well. So at the UI side, yeah. So for that, there is a regex statement, I just Google
I know regex is we have not covered, but I think that's something we can do. But I think this validation automatically happens with if you define it as an email. So get rid of @ sign, see if it gives any error when you submit. Can you submit?
okay, there's no error.
It goes through. No error. Right?
Yeah, but it went through.
It went
just
okay. Yeah, I think that you can maybe get what our sister Tanya is saying. We can use a regular expression. There is commonly available on the web what you need to put as part of expression. So regular expression is used very much in the validation, quite a bit everywhere. So that's another way. I mean, I was under the impression that the HTML5 data types, they perform the validation, but maybe it is not in React or something. I could be wrong though.
maybe,
yeah, they don't do it. That's what I also felt like. I mean, when I was using it, it was useless to use this.
Yeah,
type.
so I think then what's the point of having a type as an email? I don't know. What
Maybe in HTML it works, but not in React. So it's indirect. So maybe it's not working.
Okay, yeah. So I think you can ask Sister Tanya, can share with you the regular expression, and that you can use that for your validate function. That would be more. Then you were just testing for the @ and dot, and that regular expression will do a little bit more than that.
all right. Yeah, sounds good, inshallah.
So anything else you want to, once you're finished with this, you guys want to come up with something else? What are your plans for you want to work on a new page or a backend side, or maybe?
Yeah, maybe I want to try some backend stuff because
Okay.
I haven't really gotten into that, so I can try that later.
Okay.
Next.
Okay, so yeah, let's try to get this in also. Once we meet with Rafi, also try to check this in so that we have it working. Because so next step, what I'm going to do is like you build this page, I'm going to have Afif test it for us and try to find as many errors or problems or bugs in here, and vice versa. I'll have you guys look at their page and find issues and challenge, which is something not working as expected, by trying to break it, like put something random in the email or put amount which is too big or something, so that we can cover all these issues. So that's the next step for me for you guys to do in maybe future sessions. But for now, yeah, I would like this code to be get in as soon as possible.
Sure. Yeah, I'll push it to the fork.
All right, we have Urwa. Okay. Hey Urwa, how are you? Haven't heard much from you these days.
Yes, no, I have unfortunately been kind of very occupied with school, but I did reach out to Rafe in regards to the API for the table portion, and I'm not too sure if I should jump ship to work with Supan about the volunteer stuff.
I think you should. That's what I was thinking. I think these guys are okay. I think you just have to hand over this stuff to Wahaj and Rafe.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
And try to set up. You guys should meet once or twice a week. I think that will help both of you learn from each other, and then also it will help you plan as well during the week. And like I said earlier, also you guys spend some time on it. Maybe like schedule a time, like, okay, Monday I'm going to work on it like 5 to 6 or whatever, and then Wednesday and then Friday, so that you guys have some time allocated it to it. Otherwise, the weekend comes very fast, like us also. So if you guys don't allocate time, you would not be benefiting from this. I feel that you guys will benefit much more if you, I mean, look at these guys. I mean, I am so impressed with Afif's progress. I mean, this is amazing what he's doing. So I think I would expect you guys also. And trust me, he is busier than you guys also. He is doing number of other things other than his school. So I think we should do better than what we are doing. Okay, so next is Asad. Asad, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. So yeah, basically, I think this week I was just trying to figure out SQL developer. That took some time from me. But now I got all the connections working. I got the query, the schema up and running. So yeah, that this week I was just working on that. But from, I think, inshallah, this week, I'm gonna start taking a look at the activities page. Like we discussed, we're gonna be trying to figure out a way in where outside activities can only be shown if they click the radio button. So yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Asad, I would like you to work more with Afif on some of the things he's doing. You will learn a lot from him. So it's good that you are teamed up with Sistania and Afif. So try to work more. I think it is good that I think you are the only one who worked on the SQL developer. So yeah, I mean, you should get credit for that. I see no one else has tried even. Has anyone else tried? Set up Docker and
I haven't actually installed, and I have done it, but I was not able to connect to your, your data in the database. So I was not able to connect to the connection.
Were you able to connect as a sys, or you were not able to even connect?
Yeah, I was not able to connect. I was not able to understand that part. So how to connect? So I just, I mean, I have installed everything. So things are there, client side as well as the, I have the local database.
So can you guys also, the others also can give it a shot, Subhan, Wahaj and Urwa. Can you guys also try that next time?
Yeah. Angel.
Okay, good. But it's actually, if you guys think about it, it's a good tool to know. Oracle database is it's not because I work at Oracle, but it's the database, right? Everyone in the industry, I think if you ask a database, generally they mean Oracle. So that's why it's very important that we learn something out of it. And again, I'm going to repeat myself that if you don't exercise what we are doing in the session, these sessions are useless. There are much better people who are presenting or who has recorded this session on the YouTube than me. So you guys not going to benefit much if you guys don't do it. So let me just go through very quickly with what we did last week, and then we can talk more about. So we don't have too much time left. I'm not gonna exceed too much today. I'm gonna stay within the time. So let's see. One second. So let me share my screen. So we have a conference page also for the Docker. So, I mean, it is actually not that hard. All you have to do is do a Docker login, and you will have to create the user ID and password, right? And then you run this command, And all then you have to do is run this command to start your Docker. So once this is started, the rest of the work is just to connect using the SQL developer. I know it is not that straightforward. Maybe I'll clean this up a little bit more, but it is not that hard. There are very few steps to set up because Docker made it so easy. There's an image. This is the Docker image which is available online. So all you have to do is log in, create a login, and then do a pull, and then run this command. Once you have it, you have to have a Docker install. I think most of you have, because we did work on Docker earlier. So once this is there, your Docker is already started. The other step is to install your SQL developer. And I think I have provided the YouTube videos also how to set up a connection in SQL developer. And also I believe I provided the link how to install the SQL developer also. I think it is this one, I guess. Yeah. So once you have that, then you need to set up the connections. And the way to do connections is, I think, Sister Tanya, must be either you must not be using the port correctly, because when you start your Docker, it should show you which process it is, what is the port number. So when I say Docker PS, the default port inside the Docker is 1521, but you have to use this one. So this is basically telling that on your machine, this port is mapped on this Docker's port. So you have to use this port instead. And that's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is here. So when we're doing the properties of this one, so when you are doing the HR, when you're doing the sys schema, you will give a sys here, and you will use a sysdba here. But when you are using the HR schema, then you will give a user HR and password HR pass. I think I have given that in there. And also, I think I might have told you to use the SID. You use the service name instead and use this as your service name. I think once you follow this, it is already there in my page. You should be able to, yeah, like I've attached the picture.
So
And
what is that? Why? Sorry. What is this like HR and why we have to connect two connections? So I don't understand.
Sys is, think about sys is like a default database, right? The default schema, which is for the system admin.
Okay.
Whereas inside the Oracle database, you can have many schemas, like an HR schema, like a finance schema, or whatever, like maybe MHMA schema, or many schemas we can put in a single database. We can have hundreds of schemas in there. So a schema is also same thing as a user also. So every user can have his own schema. So sys is a system schema, HR is an HR schema. So the reason I use the HR is because there is an HR schema available over the internet. I downloaded it and attached it to this document also. So these schemas are there. So basically the way it works is you create, you log in as a sys user first. You run the first SQL, which is 01 account.sql. It will create an HR schema and HR user. So once that is created, then you can connect to a HR schema by you giving the HR and HR pass. And then you can run your other SQLs in there.
Oh, okay.
I know it may be a little bit confusing what I'm saying, but if you guys run into an issue, just send me a message and I can help you guys on that.
Okay, I think Asad has done it, so probably
Asad has done it for sure.
we will. I'll connect.
Yeah, you guys can ask me if you need.
Yeah, I'll connect with you, Asad, and then probably we can quickly do it because
I'll advise others also to try it out. It is good thing to know, and it is good thing on your resume that you know how to set up Oracle and how to install schemas and then how to run the SQL queries. It's a good thing to have, and it's a good technology also. It's a generic technology. It's not specific to Oracle. It's used in a number of databases. Okay, so this is that. And any other question on this? Okay, I'm going to quickly go through the normalization today. So I think we briefly talked about some database statements last week. We went through by looking at some databases, or by looking at some tables. So if you look at this HR tables, we have a countries table, we have departments table, we have employees table, job history, locations and regions. Think they are very similar in our NoSQL world. They are very similar to our documents, like we have members document. Think members like more like employees. And then we have jobs. Jobs, think more like we have the payments. So like there are multiple payments by a same member. Here, think like we have employees and they have multiple jobs they are performing. So the concept is very similar, but we have the data in the relational database. So there are two kinds of databases, like I said last week: the NoSQL database, like a MongoDB, and SQL database. This is called a relational database, which is Oracle. So the relational database, why we call it relational? Because these tables are related to each other. And why they are related to each other, that's another question. So if you think about whenever we are trying to implement an online system or automate a system which is already there to an application, it always starts from an Excel document, because certainly whoever is working in the current environment, they are using some kind of a technology to maintain that data. So they might already have an Excel document where they are populating all their stuff. So for example, if someone is populating the members data, they will have the member information like a name, address, phone number and all. And then they might also have the payment data in the same Excel, because they don't want to have multiple documents in Excel. It's much easier to maintain the same data in one Excel document. But that arises a problem when we get to get it into some kind of a database, because Excel, like I said, it will have all the data in one Excel document. And if we store the data in the same fashion in either SQL database or even in a NoSQL database document, it will cause a lot of issues. Because it will cause some issues with the insertion, deletion, and updation. And in order to resolve these problems, we have to split that Excel document data into multiple tables. So like I said, if you think about this database right now, this is already normalized. The unnormalized document will not have separate departments table, or separate locations table, or separate regions table, because normally this kind of information is directly stored in our main Excel document. So for example, if employees data we have, it will have an employee number, name, address, phone number, and then it will also have which department he is in, and then which region he is in. So why there is a need to store the data into a separate regions table? So if you look at the region table, if you look at this data in here, data. It's taking a little bit of time to load. So while I'm talking, so basically, this will have a region ID and the region name. So like there are 4 regions, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the regions are Europe, Americas, Asia, and Middle East and Africa. So look at it. I mean, what's the point of this data? So normally in Excel document, you will not have a region ID, you will have a region name. So basically in that document, you will have the employee name, address, phone number, and then Europe or America, and then it will have a department. Like if I open the department, it will say marketing or purchasing or whatever. So this works okay to maintain in an Excel document, but when we are talking about storing this data into the databases, we have to store this data in a fashion that it does not cause any issues with the insertion. Insertion means inserting new data, or updation means you or modify the data, or delete, you remove the data from the database. So if we have the data like in one huge table, everything, we will have those challenges. In order to resolve those issues or challenges, there is a concept in the relational database world is called normalization. And I think at some point you guys will study this in your school. So I look at this article, which is good article about understanding the normalization. There are about 6 normal forms of a database. We will only go over quickly today, first, second, and third. We will not go do it the other, other normal. I think if you have your database to a third normal form, this is already great progress compared to what you are before that. So generally, what I have seen is that the databases, we are asked to normalize our database to the third normal form. The other normal forms are for very complicated systems where there is, very high-tech systems which are not normally we work on. So for example, here it is giving you an example. This is like an Excel document where you have a full names, we have an address, we have a movies rented, and we have a salutation. So this is a movie database someone is maintaining. He has a name, he has the physical address, and then what movies he has rented, and then what is his salutation. If you look at this data, what do you guys think about it? Does this data looks okay? Because if you look at it, this guy is Robert Phil, and then this guy is Robert Phil, and then his street address is this and his street address. So maybe these are not the two of the same guys, but the name is exactly matching. So if you have to, let's say this guy comes back and want to return the movie, how would you know that which Robert Phil it is? In Excel, you will go and look at, okay, this guy is this, and you can easily figure it out, but it is a very manual step. In the online system, you don't have that ability to go look at the data manually and then make a decision, because you want your automated system to make decisions for you. So what is here is saying is that the first normal form is that each table cell should contain a single value. And each record needs to be a unique. So basically what it is saying here is, let's say this table need to have a key, right? That's the most important thing it is saying, that this does not have a key right now. The key could be the full name, but full name cannot be a key because the key has to be unique. And in this case, it can't be unique because there are two same people with the same name. So basically there is a problem with that. So this is not, this table or this document which you see is not in the first normal form. So first thing first, we need to make it as into a key. So what the user said is that the above table is in the first normal form by so it is a Janet Jones, Robert Phil. So what he's saying is that in order for us to do that, maybe we have to make a key between a composite key of full name and the physical address, because that will uniquely identify the row, because that way we know that every key will be unique in this case. But again, since we are talking about the key, let's first talk about key and then we get back to this concept. So what is the key in the SQL? So every table which we create, it has to have a field in that table which is uniquely identifies that table. So for example, in case of member, we have a member ID. we don't normally make a member name because names can be duplicated. So that in that way, that's why we normally have a member ID there. And maybe we need something similar in this case also. So there are a few rules of the primary key. The primary key cannot be null. So that's the one constraint. Primary key value must be unique. The primary key values should rarely be changed. Normally, we don't change the primary key whenever we are updating the data. The primary key must be given a value when the new record is inserted. So anytime the new record is inserted, you have to give a value to it. So for example, he is saying that you can make a composite key here by saying that Robert, if we make the full name and the street name as a composite key. Composite key is that the key consists of multiple fields. So if we make it a composite key here, that will make the row unique, because then we know that there's a Robert Phil who lived in the 3rd Street and there is a Robert Phil who live on the 5th Avenue. So that is the first normal form. So you make it in the first normal form by making them a composite key. Then the second normal form is that if you have a field with if you have a table which has only one key, I mean, it's not a composite key. If it's a non-composite key, it is already in the second normal form, because what we're talking here is that the two the fields in the table cannot have a partial dependency. Partial dependency is that if your key consists of 2 fields, none of those fields should be depending on the other field. None of those fields should be depending on the part of the key. They should be completely dependent on the full key. So that is a second normal form. There is a third normal form. I don't think this concept is going to be that easy for you guys. So I am going to stop right here on this normalization, and maybe we can cover it at some other point, because I'm feeling that you guys are not following what I'm saying. Is that correct understanding? Or I'm making it hard for you guys?
So basically, like in one, your first normal form, we are basically creating keys which are merging data from different columns to create a unique identifier, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in the second normal form, like I said, if the keys consist of 1, it is already, if it is in the first normal form, it is also in the second normal form. If your key consists of 2 fields, then it is possible that you can have a partial dependency. So partial dependency, I think the way they removed it here is, look, if you look at it, they changed it into a membership ID, and then the membership ID, and then the full names, physical address, and the salutation, and then the membership ID for that. So member ID, same like ours. So member ID, and then we created another table for the movies. So basically, we split this table into 2 tables now. So this was so what we did is we removed this movies rented from here and make another table for the movies rented, and then we have a table for the membership, which is member ID, full name, physical address, and salutation. So basically, we created a key field, which is the membership ID here, and create a link between these 2 tables. This is also called a foreign key relationship. So we are creating a child table for this, where we have a membership ID and the movies rented. So I'm going to stop right here, because I think this concept is a little bit harder, and maybe we can come back to it in future for you guys. So let's spend a little bit more time on to, or maybe we can just finish it here today, since we are close to the top of the hour, maybe only 3 minutes left. So basically, try to read through this page, which is already linked in our conference page. Try to read through it and see if it makes sense for you guys. So try to read it to the third normal form, which is here. Yeah, up to the third normal form. And then we can maybe briefly discuss this again I don't want to teach you guys some concept which does not make too much sense, because this is not related to our project also. So it is totally fine if you are not getting it, it's fine. But read through the first 3 normal forms and see if it makes sense. So just try to, at the least, what we should learn from here is that the normalization is the process of splitting the table so that there are no insertion, deletion, or updation issues, or the word they normally use is anomalies. That's a normalization definition, that it is a process of splitting the tables so that there are no insertion, deletion, and updation anomalies. Second thing we should know is the primary key. The primary key of the table uniquely identifies the row. So then there are some properties of the primary key which are very good to remember, that it cannot be null, it must be unique, and it is normally not changed, and the primary key has to be given when we insert the data. If the primary key is not present while inserting the data, the insertion will fail. So that's the second thing which you guys need to know. The third thing which I would like you to remember is the foreign key. The foreign key is also called the relation key. So that's the one key which basically sets up the relation between the parent and the child table. So under the normal situation, the foreign key is the primary key in the other table when we set up the relationship. So if you guys can just remember these 3 concepts, I think that still would be good for me. One is the definition, why we do the normalization, and maybe first and second normal form, and then what is the primary key of the table and what is the foreign key. I think if you guys have gotten this much, it's still, I think I would be happy that we made good progress. And if you guys can connect to the SQL developer with your Docker, that would be great. And if you guys hit any issues, either get hold of Asad or get hold of me, and then I can help you guys get going on that. And the next time we will maybe cover a little bit more of a SQL than we have done before. Any questions?
So can you, I think maybe Aviv or Danyanti, if you guys maybe can like stay back for like 1-2 minutes.
Are you asking me, Asad?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm here. Yeah, do you have some question? Yeah, I'll stay.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So
So
yeah,
I'm
you
going
can
to
end it
stop the recording.
whenever.
1 second. Stop share. Yeah, go ahead.